everybody. I am wearing my smart glasses today and I have a little bit of a different angle because my light died today. So until I get a new light, I will be filming with natural light. And although, it's a beautiful day and everything, I still find the video dark. I don't know why. However, as I said, I'm wearing my new smart glasses and I'm going to talk to you about my favorite books. This is a video that Chaya's inspired me to do. I could go on and on and on and have a completely separate channel talking about my favorite books. I made a separate video for my Greek favorites, which you can watch here. Εδώ είναι το βίντεο με τα ελληνικά βιβλία. And I'm going to start with none other than the Queen of Crime, Agatha Christie, whom I started reading since I was very young, and the very first book I read in English when I was 12 was Mrs. McGinty's Dead. I love mystery and I love whodunit, and one of my favorite films was Murder in Orient Express, and then I read the book and I was captivated. I love her books. If you want to start reading Agatha Christie, I would recommend you start with her short stories with Hercule Poirot, of course, her famous Belgian detective, and the short stories with Miss Marple. And she has written hundreds of books, and I am in the process of reading them little by little. I got a lot of books in my bookcase and I want to get some more. And of course I watched a lot of Poirot with my favorite David Suchet, and I love her stories. And it's always that thing that she does. You get to know the characters throughout the whole story and you don't know who to suspect, and all of a sudden she gives a clue where everything becomes clear, why the story and why the characters were like that. And for that she is truly amazing. And I think one of my very, very favorite stories ever is A Murder is Announced. It is about a family and a gathering, and usually it's like that. It's in her stories, there's always a gathering, there's always multiple characters, but for this one it's about an ad that is placed in a newspaper, and they say that it's going to be like a mystery, a murder mystery theme party, and someone does get killed in reality. And it's so clever, and the suspects and the real murderer and everything is revealed so greatly. I absolutely adore her books. Moving on to two classics. George Orwell's 1984. This book was written in 1949, and it is a mirror of today's society, and it's quite scary with things that go on with cameras, and Big Brother is watching you, and Room 101. All those things do exist, actually. Well, not Room 101 in reality, but there is a program on TV, right? Anyway, I'm digressing. The book is incredible. There is one very, 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 very scary scene at the end where I freaked out completely, but I would definitely recommend this book. It's very easy to read, and you will recognize a lot of things that are currently happening in our society. And there's a meme going around with George Orwell. I think it has a swear word on it, so if I find it, I will try to blank it out. So 1984 is a very good classic, up there with To Kill a Mockingbird and Catcher in the Rye, which I've also read and I loved. But let's move on to my second classic favorite, and that's The Diary of Anne Frank, or as it's called, Anne Frank, The Diary of a Young Girl. It's a must read for everybody. Her story is incredible, and I've been to the Anne Frank house in Amsterdam, and I had goosebumps for 3 hours in there. It is incredible, absolutely incredible, and I want to go again. If you don't know who Anne Frank is, which planet were you living on all these years? She was a young Jewish girl, and when World War II broke, the Nazis were persecuting the Jews, and her family and some friends went and hid in an attic. And if you go to Amsterdam, don't even think living without visiting Anne Frank's house. You go into the attic and you see there, when they measured the girl's height, she was around 13, 14 when she went into hiding. And she is writing with such a mature way, and the book is a testament to hope and to faith in humanity, but also a desperate call for help. And she was such a huge figure in her young age, and the book is clearly something that everybody should read, and I adore anything that has to do with her story, and sadly, it didn't end very well, the book. Okay, I'm not going to spoil it. You read it, okay? Changing the climate completely. I'm going to talk to you about my favorite funny books, humorous books in English, starting with the great Bill Bryson. Now, in the past, when someone was telling you about travel books, usually these were a little bit boring, right? We went there, we saw that, this is the measure of the mountain and the blah blah blah. No interest. Bill Bryson makes you weep by laughing. It is written so funnily, and this is my favorite because I've read all of his books. On this one, he and a friend go to travels around Europe, and because I am from Europe, and I've lived in 2 European countries, and I know the culture and I can understand, and he's American, and he was seeing it with a completely different eye, and it is so funny. Don't read it in public places because you're going to be humiliated by laughing out loud and weeing yourself, and it is incredibly funny, and also of course you get educated about places. And I think this is my 3rd time I'm buying it. I have one in Greece, I have one that I gave to my sister, and this is the 3rd one which I'm going to keep. Another favorite funny one is Come Together by Josie Lloyd and Emlyn Rees. And this is a couple, and they are writing about a couple, and they are writing in a way that is his version and her version. So it's about Jack and Amy, and the style is so funny, and you want to read his part, and then she starts writing as well her version, and then you want to continue reading her part, and it's so good, and it's laugh out loud funny again. And I remember I was very easy, you know, it's not philosophical text, it's very easy popular culture book. And I remember I was in W.H. Smith, and there was a guy looking at the book, and I recommended it to him. I said, please buy it, you're going to laugh very much. They wrote a sequel called Come Again. It was also very funny, but not as much as this one. And I think they wrote another book called The Boy Next Door, which I started, but I left it in the middle. I wasn't too happy about it. But this one, oh my God, I think I've read it 3 times. I love it. I absolutely love it. Another book which I think I read in one night, even though it's quite big, and I couldn't put it down, is Where Rainbows End by Cecilia Ahern. She's an Irish writer. She's the one who wrote P.S. I Love You, and this one is also a love story, and it has also become a movie called Love, Rosie, which was a very sweet movie, but the book is 100 times better. It was just about the time that email had started, and it doesn't have Facebook, and I think they got that in the movie, but it's about a boy and a girl growing up together, well, not together, growing up as friends, and how they communicated. And everything in the book is their letters, then their text messages, and then their emails, and there is very little contact that you see in the book. In the movie, of course, they show the contact, but the book is written in a way that, I'm out of breath, it's written in a way that shows their communication, their messages, the letters, and it is so clever. And because their communication was in little small paragraphs, I read it, I couldn't sleep. I read it in one night. Speaking of popular culture, there's another book which I have adored. This is by Kate Morton. Unfortunately, I haven't got the book. I gave it to my friend, she never gave it back to me. Never give books or DVDs to friends. They never return them. They never. I once gave The Secret, the book that Chaya was talking in her video, to a friend. She didn't return it to me. I asked for it, and then this girl went back to Greece. Hello, my book. Anyway, it's only a book, doesn't matter, but it's the ethic. Anyway, I was talking about The House at Riverton, which I don't have, but I have The Forgotten Garden, which I also love, by Kate Morton. Kate Morton is Australian, but she writes mainly for old and New England, Great Britain. And I love her. I love her stories. They always have a mystery and all kinds of secrets and intrigues, and they have mysteries and secrets from the past and from the present, and as you can see, it's quite big, but I also read it quite quickly. If I remember, 2 or 3 days. The House at Riverton, I think I read it in one weekend. I loved it, and I really want to read it again, so I'm going to ask my friend to return it to me. Come on! When Marietta Met Harry. When I first read the Philosopher's Stone, and it's the Philosopher's Stone, okay? It's not the Sorcerer's Stone. When I first read that book, I felt so elated, so happy inside, so moved that, you know, I couldn't understand what was going on with me. I loved it, and I loved the movies and everything. I love Harry Potter, but my favorite Harry Potter book and movie is The Prisoner of Azkaban. It has to do something about the time turning and all that. I love that movie, and I think the book as well. I love the book, and I think it's also because at last Harry found someone who, a relative who really loves him, and it is so sweet. I love Harry Potter, and especially that one. But let me talk to you about my top 3 books, starting with The Alchemist. Now, I've got it only in Greek, but it is a book by Paulo Coelho. I hope I pronounced it correctly. And it's about life, self-discovery, dreams, and it's a pure joy to read. And I absolutely adore it. And it's such a small size. You can read it in one afternoon. It's absolutely incredible. For the top 2, I can't decide between 2 books. And one of them is The Little Prince. And it's about life, self-discovery, love, friendship, a little bit like The Alchemist, by Saint-Exupéry, I forgot to say. And this book, look how thin it is. You also read it in one afternoon, and after you read it, you will collapse. It is such an eye-opening book, such a huge discovery for your inner soul. And the way it's written, it's like a child's novel, but it's not really a child's novel. I read it when I was little, and I read it in a different way than when I read it now, and I've been reading it all my life again and again and again, and I discover new things every time. My favorite chapter, of course, is the one with the fox. It's the best thing I've ever read about love, and every time I read it, it makes me cry. And I heard there is now a Little Prince, Le Petit Prince shop in Paris, and I'm definitely going there in my next trip. So if you haven't read The Little Prince, please do. It will change your life. This book was written in 1944, during or just after the Second World War. And it reflects that melancholy, but also the beauty of one's soul and how they were affected by the war. And he has such a beautiful soul. He was a pilot during the war, and I also read Terre des Hommes, Man and His World, I think in English. Incredible writer, but for me, The Little Prince, incredible book, and it's so small, but it's so powerful. Finally, together with The Little Prince, also has affected my life a lot, is Dear Boy, The Life and Death of Keith Moon. Now, all of you who know me personally know what a huge Who fan, the Who, you know, the rock band, I am. I am a crazy Who fan. My house is full of posters. I have all the music. I listen to it repeatedly. I've been to their concerts. I even have summoned a friend of mine to make a portrait of me and Keith together, because Keith, for me, was an incredible person. First of all, for me, of course, is the best drummer ever. Incredible drummer. If you listen to the early Who stuff, his drumming is off the hook. And this book is written by Tony Fletcher, who also idolized him, I think, as I do. And it's written with such love and so much research and so many great details about the man. He was very eccentric, but he was an incredible music genius. And all this is written here. When I first read the book, I think I burst into tears many times, reading about his greatness and also how much he was looking for love and recognition in his personal life, but also during his career. And unfortunately, that's not a spoiler because you can go to Wikipedia and read about it. Keith Moon died very young. He died when he was 32. It wasn't from drugs, it was from the prescription drugs he was taking to fight alcoholism. I think he was quite silly of, destroying his life like that. But this book absolutely justifies why and how he became an addict to alcohol, and it is such a pity, such a big pity. But I will always adore him. I also read this book throughout the years sometimes. Well, not all of it, but I refer to it many times. He talks a lot about Keith and the Who and all that amazing 60s era. And I don't know if you like rock biographies or any kind of biographies, but this is written in such a great way, which I'm sure you will enjoy reading. And that's it for now. Keith and myself, we're saying goodbye for now. If you want to watch the Greek version, there's a link below. If you want to watch my previous video, you can also watch it by clicking the link in a few minutes. And see you very soon. Bye! I wanted to show you my favorite MAC lipsticks.